seems to be fine. And sorry, I'm streaming now, guys. And the Queen's Gambit accepted. Today is the day. We're gonna find out who's the challenger, perhaps. If not, we're gonna go into the tie breaks tomorrow. That is. And I'm gonna give a special attention to Hikaru and Gukesh. Gukesh is on. He's on 8 points, right? Actually, let me check again. Let me check again. I need to see the results. Yeah. So 8.5 actually. 8 Nepomniachtchi, 8 Nakamura, 8 Fabiano Caruana. Okay, that's what it is. Many things could happen here, ranging from knight c3. We could see castle king side here. Knight c3. Specifically, if you would like to push the e4 at some point, you may need to play knight c3 first. So, yeah. Knight c3 castles. So, unless you'd like to push the h pawn, right, or the g. Is there a variation? Is there a crazy stuff with this? Asking for a friend. So both of them would like to win, right? And I wonder if g4 is something. Oops, what the border spear. One, two, three. 3 candidate moves. I'm curious if you're gonna go g4, you're gonna try something crazy or something like more mild. Knight c3. That's exactly what I would have played. I would have played exactly the same knight c3. Very good. Right, so let's go back to where we were. So knight c3 is a type of move I would have played. Oh, well, castle springs to mind. And then maybe some 6, bishop e7. This kind of stuff. That is if white, especially if white castle's short. You may want to have the bishop here. But what's more important now is that king's safety, so probably you're going to castle short. Now Nakamura could castle short as well, unless again he wants to go with some very interesting g4. And if the guy takes, you might be having this. c5, okay. c5. Challenging the d. Looks to me like they chose to do something very positional. So if they draw, Gukesh is gonna have 9 points, and Hikaru gonna have 8.5. So I think there might be a bit more than a draw they would like to having this evening, but then again, easier said than done. Okay, so far so good. Queen c2. c2 can be played. Castles. Not queen c2, but castles definitely. That's a good one. Always a good one. Let's go quickly to Fabiano and... Hey, what did happen? Did we just see a draw? This guy... I mean, not that... Yeah, okay, they just saved everybody's time. It's just, it is irrelevant who's winning or who's not winning. Okay. They very quickly re-Lopez Berlin. And they just drew very quickly. That's pretty much irrelevant, and also a little bit irrelevant what happens with the Basov and Pragdananda. The first two games, actually, they do matter. Okay. That is Fabi and Ian. Ian Black, Fabi with whites, F3. Now that's another sharp game we're gonna see here. So knight now, if they capture, obviously you're gonna take and bishop has to play. Either maintaining. Yeah, I think you can. Because even if it's this, so you're not gonna take any bishop or anything. So probably they could. Okay. E, HG then. I guess if there's something like this, you always play this. Developing. Always good to do. That's not really getting the bishop because knight c6. So you're not going to get anything. Perhaps you would like to develop as well. d3, maybe. a3, maybe. Rook ac, perhaps. Just to give you a few ideas. And maybe some others as well. So 1, 2, 3 candidate moves. Could it be queen b3? I think we can add this one as well. So 4 candidate moves for Fabi to play here. Alrighty. Queen's Gambit declined for these two, Fabi and Ian. And Hikaru and Gukesh played the Queen's Gambit accepted. If that means anything, just for a statistical record. So these are the candidate moves. A3, Queen B3, Rook AC, Bishop D3. It might be some others. It's possible Fabi would do castle long. Oh. Sorry, Ian Black gonna do castle short. Castle long, I guess. Castle short just looks incredibly undoable now because of these pawns being very advanced. So I guess you can't do castle short. You may want to do castle long. So we'll see about that. So that's the... And plenty of time for them to think about what to play. And we're going to come back and see if Fabi opted for one of the candidate moves that we highlighted here on the screen. Let me go to the other game. So yeah, we're going to be focusing on these two in particular. Again, last time I visited, that was like, what, 7 minutes ago. I've highlighted the castle short here. castle kingside. Just move number 7. So that will be move number 7. Did he prepare a line here, or what's the stuff? By the way, I did highlight at some point the G4. If memory serves well, there is an idea in which white does the G4, and after knight takes, I'm streaming, fellas. You can send. Okay. There's this. And you're attacking along the G file. And if knight goes back, you're going to take on G7. If H5, you just push H3, and they still have to go back, and you still take on G7. So that's pretty wild. But I guess you either win or you die trying, so to speak, right? And of course, if you don't want to do nothing in terms of this craziness, this tactical thing, you just go castle short. And good. What else is here? No, nothing else springs to mind. Again, you could do queen b3 or something. There's going to be this. I'm not sure. Yeah, there is. We need to. Good. We need to. Hi there, Soviet. Would you ever try g4 here? Would you go for this type of move? What do you think about g4? Have you ever played it? Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever seen it? Especially at the high level? Is it me or Kasparov used to play this? In a few games, if I remember correctly. With the potential of a castle long for white at some point. But it's very sharp and very risky. Anyway. g4, knight takes, rook h g1, and yeah. Then again, if you don't want it, just do castle short. Normal stuff. This. You gotta be careful about this and this. It's very interesting. I hope it's not a glitch from this guys, but Nakamura seems to have spent a lot of time for this move number 7. So, does he have a line? Is he making up something now? Does he try to remember something? What's the stuff here? What does it take so long for him to decide on what to play next? Interesting. Let me go into the other game then. So I'll be focusing, guys, on 2 games. This one, obviously, most and foremost, this one. And Fabian Nepo. Fabi's having whites, Nepo plays with the blacks. So let's go see if they did something. Where were we? So these were the candidate moves that I said. Bishop d3. I'm always trying to highlight what I think it's very likely to be played by either white or black. So bishop d3. c6. Okay, c6 stops any b5 attempt to either place knight or bishop in the future. So forth. Now we can further explore with knight g e2. You could try this, definitely. I think it's never a bad idea to play and develop your pieces. Probably this. And if you play queen to b3, bishop will take on c3. B takes c3, and then black has to defend b7 somehow. Either b6 or queen c8 or queen c7, you name it, or queen d7. So if you do queen b3, you give up this battery. You are attacking the bishop on b4, which they can't just move away, okay, because b7 is hanging. So following queen to b3, black has to take on c3. Looks to me quite like a forcing move. So queen b3, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, and then black needs to find a way to defend b7. Could be again d6, queen c8, queen c7, queen d7, queen e7, you name it, you name it. Yeah, of course. Can you expect some is king f2 safe for white to play right now? Or it's a bit unnecessary? It's not necessary to play king f2. You may want to play knight to e2, actually. You may do king to f2 if queen d6 or queen c7. Probably you may explore then queen f2. But I think for the time being, it's important to get the knight, do something. So maybe knight e2. Personally, I'm very happy about queen b3 prospect. I'm really happy about queen b3. What do you think, guys, about queen b3 here? Queen b3. I like it. Really, though. I think it's good. It's one of those moves. So, actually oscillating queen b3 or knight e2. I think they're both very good right here for white. I don't know which one's better. I guess you can do either of them. So let's see now if Nakamura actually moved something. Just curious if he played something. What did he play? Oh, that's something. Amongst many others ideas. Probably he wants to look at the classical, what? Bishop here, rook here, bishop here, queen here. Long term. And of course, stopping any knight coming here. Bishop, bishop, rook. Then if necessary, bishop from A to over to B, especially if black castle short. Could be. It could be. Maybe. A3. And he spent a lot of time about the A3. I think he spent more than 10 minutes, really. It was very interesting. To stay 10 minutes with move number 7 and then to play A3. Not G4, not Queen E2, not Queen B3, no nothing. A3 after 10 minutes. It's just struck me. It's just a bit weird to spend 10 minutes and decide to go A3. What can I say? I don't know. Let's see how Gukesh plays now. If you castle with black, that's a very clear signal. You're actually telling your opponent very clearly where the king is. So it's a very clear message. Would you commit now? Would you commit now and castle the king? So if you do it, Nakamura knows. Oopsie, with the ball disappear, apologies. Nakamura knows the king is here, so he might be tempted to start, marching if you do castle short here. he castle. Oh boy. And the biggest question now of the whole evening, is he going to go h4? Is he going to play h4? Questions for everyone. What do you do with this bishop on c1? Probably you're just going to play bishop d2 or just nothing for the time being. You're just going to go h4. Castle short. He castle short. Very positional now. Very positional. You're going to see knight c6. Very likely. Very likely knight c6. And if there's going to be any knight a5, the bishop drops on a2. For sure. Bishop d2. Queen e2. Maybe b6, bishop b7. Maybe. That would be another option here for black to play. Anyway, he can spend like the next 9 minutes just to equalize the time and figure out what to play. Looks to me very positional. So they chose to play an incredibly positional game. They both castle short, no h pawn being moved. No h, no g pawn, nothing of sorts. Just simple chess, sort of like predictable to some extent. A little bit of tension on the d4, c5. Hello, David. So this is the moment now. Anyway, if it's equal, we might see tie breaks tomorrow. Although this guy Gukesh is 8.5. If he draws Gukesh, he's gonna have 9 points. If either Ian Nepomniachtchi or Fabi wins, one of them gonna have 9 points. So it's gotta be tie breaks tomorrow, right? But let's see what happens. Or if Gukesh wins the game, then it's very clearly he actually is the challenger. He is the challenger. But let's see. Let's see. Hikaru also wants to win. If Hikaru wins, he's going to have 9 points. And that means Hikaru is going to play tomorrow with the winner in between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Fabi. So we've got a few combinations here. Got a few combinations. Let's see what happens this evening, guys. Let's see what happens. So that's going to be a positional game throughout. I don't know what craziness can happen, but we're going to see. So let's go to Jan Nepomniachtchi and Fabi now. IB87. What's going on here? That's a bit more exciting than the previous one. IB87. Castle long. Ooh. He castles long. Okay. Okay. Well, you definitely do not want to castle short with black here. You absolutely do not want to castle short. Because the king is incredibly exposed. This is madness. So we could just conclude, and we can assert with enough clarity that black is not going to castle kingside. It's impossible. Well, it is possible technically, but it's just absolutely lethal. You can't do that. So we might see some knight. Not here though. Because if knight goes on a6, white is going to take. You're going to have to take back, and that jeopardizes, including the chances for a castle long. So that's not going to be either. What could happen is some knight d7, some queen a5, and castle long for black as well. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh, apologies. Knight d7 had been played. There you go. There you go, knight d7 have been played. Can I suggest just knight g2? I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Probably that's what's gonna happen. Or is he gonna push e4? Nah, too premature, not now, not now, not now. Plus that comes with a caveat. This guy takes and this one becomes very, very attackable. So I guess you were just gonna play knight g2 for the time being. Just for the time. Then maybe this. Never know. Never know. So knight g2 must be played. Developing move. Hello, Simpson. How's it going, my friend? Good to have met you guys again. So it seems incredibly normal for me that white should decide to play knight e2. All the good reasons. If there's any bishop taking, you might take back with the knight. If there's any queen a5, again, you may want to have all the stuff developed. And I guess Jan Nepomniachtchi would play queen to a5 and he'd castle long. Because I've explained that actually it's very, very less likely for black to castle short. You don't do castle short. You don't do castle short. You castle long with black, and I think you kind of have to castle long. You kind of have to. So that's a bit more exciting than what Nakamura plays with Gukesh. So let's go to Nakamura Gukesh. So this one, in between Fabi and Ian, is more exciting. It looks to me more tactical, more intriguing, slightly maybe unexpected with surprises here and there. Now, if we go to Nakamura and Gukesh, it's very positional. Very positional. I don't know where the surprise might be coming from. What kind of surprises here? You tell me what kind of surprises. I don't see any surprises here happening, not just now. I've highlighted the main ideas that I think they make sense for both white and black. Knight c6 seems an incredibly normal move to play. b6 could be another move to play. b6 with the idea, I think I've explained it previously, with the idea that bishop b7 would like to play and hit along this diagonal. Other than that, what are you going to do with the bishop on c8, by the way? So you need to make space for that bishop, and b6 is incredibly, incredibly simple, attractive, very efficient. Yeah, knight c6, b6, you guys name it. It could be knight b8 to d7. So it could be that one as well. Although knight c6 put some pressure here. Like 3 times. So yeah. You know. Also knight bd7, if you decide to go this way, if white were to capture, you could take back with the knight. So, now it's getting clearer. He did spend almost 10 minutes here. And I think we can recognize in all clarity that a6 wants to be followed by b5. That's exactly what he wanted to do. He does indeed want to play bishop from c8 over to b7 for sure. But he plays a6. You're going to go b5. The bishop goes a2. I reckon that's the reason, amongst others, you played a3 with white. So bishop a2, and black is going to play bishop b7. Quite a dangerous diagonal. Quite a dangerous diagonal. Maybe you would like to take first on c5? Just wondering. b5 is going to happen for sure. So you can't prevent that unless you want to play something weird like a4, which means moving again the pawn that you've just moved like one move ago. So the only way for white to prevent d5 is to do a4, which is a little bit weird. Other than that, I guess you gotta take on c5. If you don't take on c5, if you do not capture on c5, and play, let's say, I'm going to give an example, let's say queen e2. So let's say you play queen e2, b5, bishop a2, and c4, just shutting off everything here. So you got to be prepared for that thing. If you're happy with, okay, what can I say? You could go bishop e2 perhaps. It's purely just defensive, hoping that if black plays bishop b7, if they take, you take back. But Gukesh is not going to take your knight for you to replace it back with the bishop. Just doesn't make any sense. So probably dc. I don't know if queen takes. Something makes me think that actually Gukesh does not want to trade queens. He actually wants to win. So dc would be bishop takes or b5, bishop a2, bishop b7, and that's what we're going to see. That's exactly what we are going to see here. Again, guys, if you think differently, if you spot something else, type in the idea and I'm more than happy to analyze it together. I'm sure, guys, you're having a lot of insights and you're seeing a lot of good stuff. So feel free to type in your ideas. So very positional and kind of more predictable than Fabiano versus Ian. So now we're going to go to that game. We're going to come back and see if the yellow arrows we did here will have been confirmed by what they move in the future. So let's go back. Hey, I did say that. I did say f4. I did say because if you wonder what's the thing with f4, well, f4 wants to go f5. That's exactly what it is. Now, if the black pawn takes on f4, you're going to take back with this guy. Therefore, you have fixed the pawn structure. And again, f5 is very much playable. That's a big problem for this guy. So, black takes, you take back, for sure. If there's any knight here, we're going to see knight c3. So, that's what I think might be an idea. Takes, bishop here. We're going to see this, for sure. I like this move, f4. So he didn't play knight g2. By the way, I don't think knight g2 is a bad move. So in this position, to play knight g2, I really do not think that's a bad move. But now if you want to play f4, well, you may want to play just knight f3. Because you're going to get yourself in a pin, so to speak. So, okay, f4. And f4 may be a bit more aggressive because f4 wants to go f5. That's exactly what's going to happen. f4 to f5. And the bishop then is a bit trapped. So takes, and bishop here. I'm not sure. Do you want to play this, though? Maybe you don't want to play knight f3. Maybe you want to play rook df, for instance. And then maybe you want to play this. Challenge the bishop. And they have to take, because if they don't take, you're going to take, and this guy is pinned, because if pawn takes, you're going to take. And then the queen is gone. So these little details matter so much, and they are indeed time-consuming. Actually, Fabi did spend some time to finding this resource here. I like f4. I like f4 very much. Actually, I think I like it more than what I've suggested with knight ge2, which is probably playable, but not as aggressive as this one. So this one definitely threatens to take a piece. So black has to either take or play bishop g4 right now. So you don't have a choice here. You either take or you play bishop g4. There is nothing else. I don't think there's anything else you'll do here. Still, there is something. if you really want to not react to this move in the ways we've highlighted, you can still go queen f6. You could play this. Why? They can't push the pawn. Well, apologies. You still can because you got two defenders for the f5. So it doesn't work queen f6. Apologies. Black again has to either take or bishop g4. Absolutely. They have to. They don't have a choice. They have to do this. And you're going to spend a bit of time here because he got it this. So again, if you take first, you're sort of like fixing white's pawns. I'm assuming black still wants to do castle long, right? So maybe you want to take after all. Bishop g4. Yeah. You're going to play the queen where? c7, e7. Where are you going to play it? a5. So what's imperative now? It's, let me highlight with red, this or this. So these are the must-do moves. Yeah, f6, says Bob. Hello, Bob. f6. I'm going to send your bishop back. I'm going to make your bishop a pawn, Bob. It is a way to play f6, but you giving me this square. I'm pushing the bishop back on f7, and I'm taking g6 from you, and your bishop is going to be a pawn for a long time, maybe? It's playable, Bob. I don't think you blunder a piece or something, but it feels like you're giving me a lot of your space. Interesting idea, Bob. So I appreciate, thank you for visiting the stream. Thank you for your thoughts. But it feels like I'm taking space from black if you do f6. Yeah, feels weird though. Don't know what to say about this. I really don't. And also there is another thing, Bob. Please consider, after you play f6 and I play f5 and you play bishop f7, please consider this move. You can't take because you're pinned. You have to push down. And then I push again. You can't take because you're pinned. You're going to lose the rook. If you're pushing down, I'm just simply going to take. You're going to take. I'm going to take. I'm not sure that f6 serves black very well here, but you guys tell me if you agree, you disagree, you have a better vision, you understand differently. Please do tell me. So f6 can be played, but oh, and also there is this weird bishop g6 happening. Yeah, you drop this guy, but I really don't know what to say about this. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, not f6. Not f6. It's not good. Nope. So either take or you play bishop g4. Takes or bishop g4. Anyway, thanks for the idea. Everything matters because uh, human mind, you know, is very, very fallible, and we need some help from our friends to discover something we don't see. So that's good. That's why we gather together. So let's go to Hikaru and Gukeshi. And after Queen E2, which we did highlight, look how many candidate moves we put on a screen here. So after a6, I've highlighted a bunch of moves for white, and Queen e2 is one of them. Queen e2 is one of them. So we got this one as well. Again, b5, bishop a2, forced. I don't think you want to do bishop d3, right? Kind of can. Kind of can. But I'd like to play actually bishop a2. Do you know why? Because when I get the rook, I want to hit the black queen without the bishop blocking my rook. So I would say b5 and bishop a2. That makes sense. Then potentially rook fd. some bishop d2, or you're going to play e4, although you have to be careful about this. You can still play e4 though. But we have to take it one by one. So let's see what Gukesh decides to play. I guess he will push b5. It doesn't make sense to do anything else. Okay, let me just highlight. b5 or knight c6. Would you do knight c6? I don't know. Still b5. That feels incredibly important to play it now. Bishop b7. And maybe knight b8 to d7. Having the bishop this way. White can react to this after bishop a2. Threatening to take here, winning a pawn because they attack your queen. So you have to be careful about that one as well if you're black here. And a ton of good ideas. b5. b5 is my first candidate move. And I think the only. Would you do b6? Yeah, I guess you can. It feels insufficient. I don't know. Still b5. 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 Bishop a2, maybe c4. That goes okay because this guy now attacks. Oops. So after b5, bishop a2, c4. You also have the bishop attacking on the a3, e7. That is good. It is. Heck, then you can push it again if you want to. It's a bit too early, person. Thank you for coming back. It's a bit too early to say. It is very positional. It's the Queen's Gambit accepted. Very positional. I guess, there you go, b5. And we all knew that. We all knew that. We said it. b5. Of course b5. And if I understand this correctly, you may want to play bishop a2. Now, this is forced. You don't play bishop d3. I'm going to give you a reason why. If it's c4, you're going to have to play here. Then you're going to have to waste the tempo in order to get the rook out, whatever you are, get that rook. So bishop a2. And if it's c4, I don't know. You want to play this? You want to play this? Maybe you want to play them all. Bishop b1, queen to c2. And then he moves, then you checkmate Gukesh on h7. Simple. Hello, Mughal. How's it going? So bishop a2 is my candidate move now. Bishop d3, I'm not sure. Hello, David. We don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know. What I do know, David, what I do know is that there you go, bishop a2. Exactly as we had said even like 3 moves ago. We said that. And you want to bet bishop b7 is going to happen. Because bishop doesn't have any future along the c8, h3 diagonal, so the bishop has to play on b7, looking this way. Bishop b7, very good stuff. Do you want to play c4 first? I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you do want to play c4. Or you want to keep the tension, or maybe you want to keep the tension. So play bishop e7, knight bd7, so that you're not obstructing the bishop. We're going to go to Fabi in a second. No, I don't need any logo. Thank you, Mughal. Cheers, man. See you next time. No, I don't need nothing. Bishop b7. Yeah, let's go to Fabi. Indeed. If black doesn't push or doesn't take, we might see rook fd, forcing black actually to push this guy. So let me go to Fabi now. And Nepo. Cool stuff. Where were we? Here. Bishop g4. Exactly. I don't know if our friend is still there. Bob. So Bob, as we highlighted, either bishop g4 or black pawn takes. Look at this guy. Let's just take him out right now. Okay, so bishop g4, attacking the rook here. Do you play knight f3, bishop e2, or you move the rook? I'm not sure which one goes first here. I'm not sure. Knight f3 seems to be okay. But you're still in a pin. On the other hand, you develop your piece. That might be a thing. Knight f3. I wouldn't play bishop e2. Although, bishop e2 wants to say, if you don't take my bishop, I'm going to take your bishop and you can't take it back. So that's another subtlety here, and I think that's quite important. I think this is important. So would you be happy to play bishop e2? To forcing black to take your bishop? Bishop e2. It's one thing. Knight f3 develops a minor piece of the back rank, blocks the bishop attacking the white rook, threatens to take this guy for free. So David, it's exactly what I said. Knight f3 seems to be a very, very good choice also, because of the reasons we've explained together. So knight f3 develops, threatens g5. If bishop takes, I'm happy to take back with the g pawn. I think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad, knight f3. I like it, actually. Knight f3, it's good. Knight f3 is good. I am on the principle, guys, that if you have a chance to get more of your pieces developed, you should do it. Of course, you don't want to get yourself in a pin. You want to solve this kind of trouble, but getting pieces out is paramount. And when you play knight f3, you don't just play knight f3. You play knight f3 threatening to take on g5 with the pawn. Actually, that's quite an important idea. That's quite an important idea. Knight f3 with the idea to take on g5. Therefore, black either plays f6, which, if they do f6 after knight f3, it's a disaster because you're going to play bishop g6, checking the king. And frankly, particularly at this high level of chess, Fabi is winning. So you cannot do after knight f3, f6 with black. It doesn't work. You lose. You just lose. So I would say knight f3, and you sort of either take on f4 with the pawn, or you take the knight. And from Fabi's point of view, it is very good. It's really good. Your king is castled. You remove the bishop. You're still having your beautiful battery here. And you're ready to push e4. You have to take with the g to keep your pawn structure healthy, Mr. Person. So knight f3. If g takes f4, you take with the g pawn, right? Actually, let me investigate a bit. Blimey. There is some reason to take with e pawn because you may want to exploit the black king's incredibly bad position, which is uncastled. So there might be another subtlety. Question is, guys, after knight f3, what is black playing? Hello, Aksha. Thank you very much for your thoughts, my friend. Appreciate your presence. Thank you for stopping for the stream. Appreciate a bunch. Knight f3, there you go. I very much love this game like yourselves, guys, and I'm happy to explain everything I know. Anyone. Everyone. So knight f3. Very good question, Mr. Person posed here. If they take, what pawn do you take back with? Very important idea. If they take and you take back with E, again, the idea would be some rooks over to the E file. This is serious threat. Very serious threat. So let's just assume only for a second. G takes F4. E takes F4. If Queen C7, it's a bit maybe too late for black to castle because I'm going to play Rook E1 immediately. Of course, there is Bishop E6, but actually this is a massive blunder because F5 and you're dead. So actually, at this very point, I'm loving Fabiano's position more than Ian's. Looks like Fabi is doing better than black here. And actually, I'm going to make something. I'm going to throw an evaluation and then I'm going to check with the machine. So I'm going to give it a +0. I'm going to give it a +050, +060 at this stage, right at this point in time. Let's see if we are correct. Fly me, -027. Why is that? Why? Why is -027? What do? Do you castle short? It's a disaster. Do you move Queen C7? I'm winning the pawn on G5. Do you take on C3? I'm going to take with the Queen. Why is that? Very unclear. Very unclear. What? Can you tell me, guys, one great idea for black here? Just one big idea for black. Bf3. Bf3. G takes. Pawn takes. I'm not sure. So Bf3. G takes. Black's never going to take on F4 for the reasons we've explained. So bishop F3, G takes, and black cannot take. Cannot take here because they're going to take. They don't have time to castle. They're going to be caught up by the rook. So that's deadly. Bf3, G takes. Makes sense. Person, makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. Yes. It does make sense. Actually, they have to, because if they don't, we're going to win a pawn on G5. Okay, I think this is necessary to be played. I think this must be played by black. Could be some Queen A5 at some point as well. It could be very well. And you know something? If Queen A5, I'm not sure what White's going to play after Queen A5. But if Bishop takes, you have to take with the pawn, unfortunately, because if you take with the Queen, you're going to be dropping this guy. Queen C7 is very strong, person. That is correct. Bishop F3, G-F3, Queen E7. Yeah, yep. Rook D1, castle long. Yes. Bishop F3, definitely. I would say Bishop F3 is the most important stuff for black to play right now. So they have to play Bishop takes F3. Yes. Bishop takes F3, yes. It has to be played. Maybe we're going to see what you guys suggested with Queen E7, maybe Queen C7, because this is also something to be used. I'm sure Ian is going to find something good, but I guess Bishop F3 very likely. Again, Bishop F3 necessary, so to speak, because if you do not, then F4 takes G5. So still, Bishop can take afterwards. You take and Queen takes. Bishop F3 is not necessary. Bishop F3 must not happen now. It mustn't. It's a false pawn victory here. You're not going to get any pawn because Bishop's going to remove the knight, and then you're going to have a problem with this guy in particular. So it's not that easy. It's not. It's far from over, this one. But it's going to be very exciting. Far from over. Yes, Queen C7 is great. Queen A5 is great. Bishop F3, it's playable. It's playable. But I guess Ian has to think about what to do with the king. You can't keep the king on the E file forever. You must decide what you're doing with the king. King has to be castle long, so you better move that queen. Queen E7 with tempo. queen e7, because when you play queen e7, you're forcing white to do something. And I think, David said that already. There you go, queen e7. Yeah. So, not necessary to take on f3. We've established that it wasn't necessary. But queen to e7 wants to say I'm going to take this guy with tempo. So, do you play rook de, I guess, right? Or do you play queen b3? No, you can't play queen b3 because there is a check here. Nope. You have to play a rook. Maintaining the rook on a and get the rook over to the e file. And it is what is. And if castle long, you can start speculating about queen b3. I don't know, a3 ideas. What are you going to do? Bishop f? I like that one too. So rook de, castle's long, bishop f5. I think it's good. Well, I think it's good for both colors. There's no big weakness. I can't find any super fault for anyone or something. I think it's good. I think it's good. d5 is hanging. d5 is hanging. How is it hanging d5? There is c6, right? Hello, Sanjay. Yes, it's not that easy to play this position at all. It looks maybe, but it's very deep, and there's a lot of connections in the background. It's never done. It's never easy. I would probably do rook d e1 now, guys, if I was Fabi here. There could be some other resources. I mean, are you willing to lose this guy? And if you're not willing to lose the guy, I guess you have to do something. Can you do e4, asking for a friend? This guy takes. Knight takes. Can you do e4? Not really. Not really. Looking for this guy. Very complicated. So exactly as Sanjay just said, this is very complicated. That's another very good question, Jeremy. That's a very good question. And I was thinking about it. Can we just ignore the E? Can we just push king b1? Let me tell you something very innocuous, apparently. What about king b1? They can't take this guy. Because they cannot. So you're going to play king b1. And you're going to play king b1. But in principle, yeah, I guess you can. I guess you can. King b1. And maybe bishop f5 afterwards. You need to do something about this bishop. You can't tolerate this guy here forever. They either take, or you're going to play bishop a5 and take him off. Something has to happen. And also you may want a queen here, maybe. You may want a queen on the b file. That's important. e4. Yes. e4. Yep. I mean, I asked the question. I asked the question if e4 actually isn't playable. And it is playable because Fabi came to this conclusion. And I guess, my friends, he came to this conclusion because if black takes, you're going to take with the knight, and actually you're threatening this. And if you take, obviously, you open up the e file. So I'm happy actually I've indicated e5 as well. I guess you could have done the other stuff that you guys said, rook e1, rook d1, king b1. I think you could have done, but e4, it's something. Challenging. It challenges d5. No, you don't challenge any d5. Apologies, you can't take here because of this. But actually you can. Very sharp. So as Sanjay said, this is very, very sharp. It's getting actually very sharp here. Really, really tough. Very sharp indeed. You already seen them. You just you need to relax a bit more. You need to relax, Simpson, and you're gonna see them. I'm sure just 1, 2 more streams, and you're gonna see them all, even more. You can't just be exposed to ideas and not getting them eventually. So you will get them, or you already understand them. You just need to keep practicing, and I think you should be absolutely fine. I'm very optimistic about it. So let's go quickly to Nakamura. Let's go quickly and see what Nakamura Gukesh do here. Yes, okay, so he took on D. Fine, fine, fine. Oh, he didn't move. He didn't move nothing. CD, and he didn't move a damn thing. Could you do this? I guess you can. Could you do this? I guess you can. Could you do pawn? I guess you can that one too. The reason what I'd say it's an interesting take with a pawn is because the bishop is free to go. So if you take with a pawn, there is something here. If you decide to take with the pawn, you accept that you're going to have a D pawn isolated, a lone pawn, completely isolated. Now, if you take with the pawn, you open up the bishop's diagonal. So you could go eventually G5 or F4, one of these, or E3, or E3 for that matter. So that's another idea. It's another idea. Where would the bishop go if pawn does not take? Well, you're gonna take then, person. If he doesn't take, you're gonna take anyway. So, by the way, it's white's turn to play. So white has to move now. So really, you will take now, or you're gonna play rook FD. I mean, one of these, right? Rook FD seems to be incredibly good for other reasons. Not just you don't allow them to take, so to speak, but also if there is anything in the future, you can run with the king maybe. You know, run with the king. I mean, not now, later. But this one probably it's a good one. This one is good. This one is good. But if you take with the knight, again, what do you do with your bishop? Can you do this and this? Why not? Why not? Just play nice and beautiful. Knight takes on d4. Good stuff about knight takes d4. You do not allow knight c6. For instance, if they ever wanted to develop like this. Take a knight on d4. And if you got a chance, b4 and bishop b2. Like this. And get your rooks in the game. Rook fd, rook ac1. Sorry, but that looks absolutely fine. So I guess you could take with the knight on d4. You could take with the e3 on d4. You could play rook fd1. All the stuff you could do. After you take on d4, Gukesh is going to play bishop c8 to b7. That's exactly what he's going to play. So you have to be careful about that stuff. But you can't prevent it. You can't stop bishop b7. You cannot stop it. Another. There are so many ideas. There are very many ideas. That's why Hikaru doesn't move nothing. You could take with a pawn. You could play a rook to d and then push this guy on e5 though. It's just to take more space. Maybe. And if the bishop goes on b7, you could, I don't know when, think about some knight f7 ideas. When rook takes, you might be able to take something on e6, especially if the pawn had taken. It's a lot to take in, but anyway. So if you take with the pawn, if rook fd, if knight here, if this guy goes here, and if you take and they take and you do. I mean, okay, it's like very many things, but just saying. Well, let's think about your idea. So if rook fd, you say, what about e5? Can't I just take your guy, though, with the knight? So if I play rook f to d and you push e5, I suspect I could take it with a knight? So I don't think it actually works. I guess you could, but are you sure you want to do this? By the way, the light square bishop has a wonderful career, Sanjay, on b7. You already have something good for that bishop, really. Unless you want to do something else. I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm missing something? It's not that easy because Hikaru actually thinks, we've been discussing this for a few minutes. He also thinks about this one and he didn't take a decision just yet. It's a lot of stuff. And they want to win. Hikaru wants to win. He plays this one. He really wants to win, of course. Would be incredibly sad not to want to win. Of course you want to win. And Gukesh as well. Enormous pressure on the 17-year-old Super Grandmaster from India. Enormous pressure at this young age to be so close being the challenger of the current world champion. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So again, Sanjay, I don't think e5 is very good following rook fd. I don't think so. Or maybe you see something I don't see. Or I mean, it could be, but I don't think so. This. So there's three ideas. 1, 2, 3. I don't think there is anything else. I don't see anything else happening here. As the next move, number 11. Oh. And every single take now, or every single move, has a lot of consequences. Again, including with the pawn. There's so good stuff taking with the pawn or with the knight or rook fd. Let's move now to the other guys. So that is Hikaru. Move number 11. He's got to decide if he takes the black pawn or if he pins it, so to speak. Let's find out. Hey, he played it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me go back. Apologies. He did take with the pawn. He took with the pawn. Guys, he took with the pawn. And Gukesh almost immediately pushed. Takes and takes. Okay. And then this. I like it. I will take. A3 takes b4. Bishop takes b4. Bishop plays g5. I'm pinning here. I'm connecting the rooks. And I'm ready to play rook ac, rook fd, bishop b1 when necessary, looking this way. I like it. It's good. So a takes b4. Bishop takes b4. Bishop g5. If they push this, even better. I might take or not. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to drop on h4. Let them push g5 again, which I doubt seriously Gukesh is going to do. So I'm not sure about the... Guys, I'm not sure about the b5 unless, Jeremy, unless he learned a sideline. I mean, why would you play b4? What I know is that you don't have to getting panicked and you just have to look at the, as objective as possible. I don't know what's this. I want to take, person. I want to take. If you do not take, they will take. Then you take, and then bishop takes. Then maybe you take. I still want to take. Let me tell you why I would like to take. I would like to take because I'm opening the A. Amongst other ideas. So I think I would like to take on B4 actually. Now, I would like to take now. I don't know if he's in prep or not. But I don't see what's wrong about taking. So I'm taking. If they take, okay, still bishop g5. In exactly what I said. Get this guy here. Get this guy here. Drop the bishop on B. Try to checkmate on h7. A b4. Then h6 with black. I understand. I understand. Then AB, h6, and can I push b5? I'm going to take h6, bishop f4, bishop f4 for this. So maybe I can remove your knight. Again, going back to the idea with bishop b1, queen to c2, checkmate on h7. I would take on b for person. I would take on b4. So we need to keep it nice, simple, and efficient, if I may say that. AB. If they take, we do what we said with bishop g5. If they play h6, I'm going to develop bishop f4, hoping for bishop e5, so I can remove the knight. Therefore, the bishop e1 and queen c2 could be proven very difficult for black to cope with. And then again, you know, as soon as you play this bishop, you've got this, you've got this, you've got bishop b1, whatever you want to do, queen c2, and let's see what happens. You have to be careful though with white. You have to be careful about if this guy moves. You always have to be careful about this. Although you have bishop c4, so you could keep this in mind, just to keep the perspective. But if you do this, you're actually neutralizing exactly the bishop that wants to be the helper in the battery delivering checkmate. So if black plays a5, I don't know when, in what order exactly. If black pushes a5, you know that bishop a6 is going to happen. Forking you, skewering, so to speak, or forking, whatever, a queen and rook. You see? And then you have to play bishop c4. And if you play bishop c4, you're no longer having the battery for h7. That's an important idea. Therefore, after a5 or something, you have to move the rook immediately to d. So after bishop a6, you just move the queen. I don't know, you move the queen. And you're doing fine. I will take on b4. I don't know if Gukesh is in preparation or not, but I would capture. I don't like to play knight e4 because your knight is under attack. I don't like knight e4, Jeremy. I'm going to tell you why exactly I don't like knight e4. Because bishop e7, attacking my guy twice. Then if I take, they're going to take here. And why would I give them so much power? With those bishop cruising, bishop f6 to a1 and bishop e7 to g to h1. Why would I do this? I don't like knight e4. But maybe I'm missing some stuff. It's not... Hikaru didn't move just yet, and I'm pretty sure he thinks about the lines that we discussed as well. And probably he's gonna see maybe a bit more than us. But nevertheless, AB4 seems to be okay. I don't see any trick. I don't see any trap. I don't think I'm blundering anything. I think it's okay. I'm opening the A for the rook. And we can think about G5, Bishop F, Rook D, Rook C, Let's play like this. And I think we should be moving to Fabiano and Nepomniachtchi. And let's see what this guy's do. It's very exciting and beautiful. And I just love it. I just love it. Again, white has to be careful after a5 to move the rook ASAP. Rook wants to go rook f to d. You always want to go rook fd. Maybe given a chance at some point you might be pushing after rook fd because that's where the black queen is. So, you know, all sorts of stuff. Let's take it one by one though. Let's take it one by one. In here, yeah, there's so much to factor in. Let's go to the other game. Yeah, and Nepomniachtchi here. What do they do? e4, we did say that. Bishop removes first, and queen takes. So guys, if pawn takes, you have no fear. You take back with the bishop, because if this guy takes, the queen is trapped. So you don't have any trouble with taking back the bishop. You take back the bishop. All is good. All is good. There's not a problem because black hasn't castle and the queen is on the same line with the black king. You don't have any problem. If you had taken with the b, that would have been a little bit annoying with the checks and stuff. It just doesn't look okay. It's really not okay. So you have to take with the queen. Again, if they take, you're going to take with the bishop. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, I think makes sense. I think it's okay. I think it's good. If you have a chance to play rook d e, you can jump with this guy immediately. Or maybe g5 or something. But we have to take it step by step, and it is black's turn to move. So black has to move something. Is Nepo castling now? I think you should castle long, right? Or maybe not, because you are going to take and they can't take because the king is here. Oh, blimey. So if he castles, if black castles, you actually win a pawn? They cannot take. They can't castle. So people, I think we can reach the conclusion that actually black cannot castle here. Well, you can castle short if that's what you want to do. But you can't castle long. So what else is black doing here? After all, probably you have to take. D takes c4. Bishop takes c4. Queen can't take. We established that already. And then castles? But then again, it's crazy. Bishop takes c6. B takes c6. Queen takes c6. Queen b8. King moves away. It's getting really, really, really exciting now. Because actually, after black takes and bishop takes, and if you castle long, I think Ian has to give it a good 5-10 minutes to figure out what the heck do you do after bishop takes c6. I'm actually serious. So pawn takes, bishop takes, castle long, bishop takes c6, takes c6, queen takes. You have to look at this and you need to make sure that you're actually happy with the stuff. If black takes and bishop takes, probably you still don't castle long. And if you don't castle long, what do you play? I don't know. Take on f3. Okay. Take on f3. Takes. Or bishop takes. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know why, but I'm liking whites again here. I don't know what the engine would say. Let me just try plus 0.35. Ooh, guys, look at this. Plus 0.97. Plus 0.97. So it's enormous attacking potential for Fabi here, having whites. And probably some of the ideas we said actually justify the evaluation. That goes massively for whites here. Exactly the ideas we said. Castle short is crazy. It just looks absolutely insane, castle short. Castle long has the same issue. Taking on e4 doesn't mean a big deal of nothing. Bishop takes, actually. So, and after bishop takes, of course, Fabi is going to play rook d e. I mean, you tell me what do you do with black. Really, you tell me what do you do with black here. How you going to maneuver stuff here. Where do you go with your king? Because actually that's the big problem here. What are you going to play with the black king? Where do you move that guy? Where do you go with that guy? A very good question. And I guess Nepo does not have a clear answer to this question. Because if he had, he would have moved. So there you go. He still investigates. It's actually serious. My Fabi winning? He might win. He might go on 9 points if he wins, guys. Might go 9 points. What's going on here? 94. Oh, bloody hell. 94. Okay. If I was black, just bishop e7. I'm not sure about 94. I don't like it for white. I don't like 94. Amongst others, not just bishop e7. But let's just assume this guy takes. Guy here. Okay. Bishop e7 though. Bishop e7, knight takes f6. Bishop takes f6. So what exactly did white do here? What did he do? We're going to go back, Sanjay, and look at your idea and see exactly if we manage to understand a bit more. Yep. So now after bishop b7, attacking e4 twice here, what do you play? Hell, you could play knight c5, right? Attacking the bishop on b7, then bishop takes. Then you take. It's not a bad idea after all. The reason I was reluctant about knight e4 is because I got a little bit concerned due to bishop b7, but actually that might be playing in your favor after knight c5. You don't have to take on f6. You mustn't take on f6, because if you take on f6, you encourage black to take with a bishop, and then you're going to have a problem here. Therefore, after bishop b7, if it was to be, you go knight c5. This is an outpost. There is no pawn. Your knight is a monster attacking b7. So, sort of, they have to take. Kind of. If they take, you're going to take with your pawn, and all of a sudden, I'm liking Hikaru's position now. Especially if this guy disappears taking the knight on c5, you have the mother of the pin here. And then, of course, the white rooks will be coming AC and FD. Oops. Absolutely. Bishop d7. Bishop b7. You don't take the knight. No. You don't take the knight on f6. You're helping the other guy. Only for the pawn? You have double pawns on the b, Sanjay. So let's put your idea. Bishop b7. If you capture here, I understand they take, but they're also attacking you twice. And the fact you're taking on b4 doesn't mean too much, because you got double pawns on the b file. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I would say something else. If bishop b7, knight c5, I think that's the correct way to do it. That feels incredibly efficient. It does feel very, very, very efficient in this fashion. Knight c5 and stuff. What do you think, guys? So takes, bishop a5. I think it's great. I really think it's great for white, that is. Knight g3, very slow. To my understanding, at least. No, I want to play on c5 because I want to attack the queen with the rook. Knight g3. Person, knight g3 doesn't attack a single thing from black. Knight g3 is slow. I don't attack nothing to my understanding. It'll take 2 tempos to do something with that knight. It doesn't serve any purpose. Knight c5 instead ticks all the boxes. Again, I want to open the d file. It's very important to open the d file for the rook to attack the black queen. Well, that's another thing, of course. Of course, knight bd7, knight bd7. MLS, I think you are closer a bit. Knight bd7 probably, yeah, to just prevent knight c5. Exactly right. Yes. So from black's point of view, rather than bishop b7, which fundamentally encourages knight c5, I think black should do knight b8 d7. Exactly right. As MLS just said it, I think he's correct on this one. Knight b d7. And then you have to take it from here. Yes. So I think MLS provided a better response for black than bishop b7. I think knight b d7 is definitely better here for black. Thank you for your idea. That's exactly what was missing. And now Gukesh's turn. Let's see how he does this position. How he moves it. What did this guy do here? Hey, they took on e4. They took on e4. Guys, this one is going to get very exciting. So bishop... Hey, there have been a couple of things here. Bishop takes f3. G takes. Pawn takes. Now, you take with the bishop. Of course you take with the bishop. Right? Oh, the pawn. No, I want to take with the bishop. I want to take with the bishop. For all the reasons in the universe, so to speak. Bishop here would be attacking along this diagonal. 1. Also this diagonal. This bishop is killing it. Of course you take with the bishop. You take with the bishop, right? Maybe this. So if it's rook e1 now, could be f5. No, it doesn't work. You're right. Wait a second. So bishop e4. Oh, you want to play rook de? Sorry, which one do you want to play? Rook h or I guess rook de you want to play, right? Rook de. Then they go e3. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about now rook. No. You have to take. You have to take MLS. No. You have to take on e4. Now, either pawn or bishop. I mean, you name it and tell me which one is your favorite. I guess you have to take with the bishop because you're just simply attacking more stuff. Then you can play rook de, of course. Then if castle long, you can definitely consider bishop takes c6. Absolutely. We can play bishop f5, Sanjay, afterwards. There is no castling ever going to happen. Bishop e4. Knight f6. You wanna come here? I see. I just move the queen. Bishop e4, knight f6, bishop f5, knight d5, queen d2. I think I can play this. I think I can play this. If you want to do it in this fashion. No, wait a minute. Bishop e4, knight f6, bishop f5. Ah, you attack the queen of tempo. Queen d2, and I think black is in trouble because of the rook de. It doesn't look good for black here. It doesn't look good for Nepo. I don't think you have too many good moves for black. First thing first, you can't castle at all. Well, it's white's turn, by the way. So bishop takes e4. And then black can castle. You can move the knight, but after bishop f5, I don't know what exactly you are playing next. Yeah, there is a trick here. Bishop takes e4, knight f6, bishop f5. Potentially, if black takes the pawn, you have to be careful because if pawn takes back, queen g5 checks and wins your bishop on f5. So probably that's one little idea you have to be careful with. Bishop e4, knight f6, bishop f5. If black pawn takes on f4, g takes f4. You have to be careful now, right? No, g takes f4. There's no. You're good. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe because knight blocks the queen, so there's not a problem. Bishop e4, knight f6, bishop f5, knight d5, queen d2. I think this is good for white. Very good for white. Oh, yeah. It's good for white. Totally good for white. Okay. Let's see this, guys. He didn't do none of what we discussed. He didn't do bishop b7, Gukesh. He didn't do knight ba d7. He took on a3. I think we have to do knight c5 now. You have to do it now, I guess. Or rook fd. What do you take for this? There's very many ideas. I very much like rook after d1. Really, really, really love it. Can we give them the pawn because you're going to take with the bishop and that's going to be devastating for black. So let black take again. And you play rook fd, and if they take on b2, you're going to take back with the bishop. My god, that looks incredibly scary. The bishop pair looking at the black king. Knight c5, rook fd. So my candidate moves are knight c5, rook fd. What do you take on a3? A rook fd is good. It's always good to get the rook where the queen is. So placing the rook on an open or semi-open file, it's always a good stuff to do. Knight c5 could be challenged by knight bd7. So then what are you doing? He took, b takes a3, okay. I guess you could play bishop b2 regardless. You could definitely play this. Again, if bishop b7, it's knight c5. But I guess knight bd7 would be the right one to play for black, right? Exactly as MLS just said. Knight bd7. So guys, if things continue on this direction, I think we're going to have Fabi winning against Nepomniachtchi. So Fabi going to be on 9 points. And now the biggest question is, if Gukesh draws, we're going to have tie breaks tomorrow. If Gukesh wins, no tie breaks, it's done. The guy is the challenger. Gukesh will be the challenger for Dingley Ren. If Gukesh loses, you're going to have tie breaks tomorrow because Hikaru 9 points and Fabi 9 points. So I think that's it. Bishop e7. Bishop e7. Now I would just throw everything on c5. Knight c5. You have to do knight c5, right? And everything falls into place from white's point of view. But let's see. So knight c5. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. And Hikaru preserved the bishop pair. And the rooks will be devastating. Probably queen wants to come here at some point, but everything's flimsy. Yes, it could be. Could be very well. Which we're going to take. And then they're going to take with the knight. Correct. Then some bishop d2. But the game already had changed. Yes. Yes, it could be. It could be. Knight c5, bishop d5. I'm not sure. Bishop d2. They take, you take. Horrible to get the rook on e2. You're going to have to waste another tempo to do something with that rook long term. So yes, bishop d2. Yes. So knight c5. Could be knight c5, then bishop takes f3, you take, and queen just grab your guy, attacking this guy with tempo. Yeah, but you attack the rook also. Oh my god. This is crazy. So again, knight c5. Bishop takes f3. Attacking queen. Queen takes. Queen takes. Queen takes d4, attacking the rook in the corner. Queen takes a8. Queen takes a1. Threatening this guy. This is just crazy. Alright, this is, I mean, this is just so nuts, tactically speaking. And that's exactly the chunk of time that Nakamura is going to dedicate exactly to this moment. I think he's going to stay a good 5-10 minutes for this. So he is going to spend some time here now. There are so many tacticalities. Oh boy. If I was white here, maybe I would postpone knight c5. No, but you can't postpone it because the guy is attacking twice here. On the other hand, if you take on f6, black's going to take on f6. And it's just looking so horrible. Knight f. Bishop takes. So much power for that bishop. It's too much power. My god. What? If queen d4, then bishop d3. What are you? Okay, let's look at your idea. This is so crazy. So, knight c5. Bishop f3. Queen f3. Queen d4. Bishop, yes, bishop e3, and I think black is in serious trouble, right? Because queen is being hit, and rook is being hit. Then queen has to go, and when the queen goes, the rook drops on a8. I think so. Therefore, knight c5 seems like the best stuff for white to play. I don't think you want to play or slow down anything. You want to go with the best possible move. I think knight c5 is the best move for white. Yes, bishop e3. Yeah. MLS. Yeah, I think I got it in the end. Bishop e3 is what you said. Yes. Yes. And I think you meant correctly. Yes. So Looks to me that knight c5 is the best stuff to do. Now, the idea of bishop taking on f3, it doesn't work for the reasons we've explained. But that bishop, I don't know who amongst you said it, guys, or MLS said it, and Person said it too. Bishop d5 could follow. So knight c5, then bishop d5, not bishop takes f3, because that doesn't work. The thing with queen d4, it doesn't work. So knight c5, bishop d5. Then if you capture, knight takes. Incredible outpost. What an outpost for that black knight. How are you going to move that guy? You're not going to move it anytime soon. And you have to take care of the c3 square. There are so many possibilities here. Still, white needs to investigate what do you do with the bishop on c1. Are you going to play that bishop today? Are you going to play bishop b2? I would move on b2, but not now. Obviously, you're going to lose the knight on e4, so you can't play bishop b2 now. So you have to decide what you're doing with the knight. Knight f6, I don't like it. I don't like it because I'm giving the other guy enormous power on this dark squares. So I'm still suggesting knight c5 here for white. Knight c5, bishop d5, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop b2, preventing knight c3, keeping my bishop in this direction where the black king is. And if you got a chance, rook fd, rook ac, rook ab, depends where the priority calls you to play it. Yeah, perhaps. And still black needs to figure out what to do with the black knight on b8, whether you get that knight. So everything probably needs to start with knight c5, but not an easy position. Hikaru himself thinks very, very deeply and quite long. It takes quite a lot of time for him to decide what to do next. Yeah, so let's go now quickly, guys, to Fabi and Nepo. Let's go to Fabi and Nepo, and we're going to come back and see what these guys do. Because actually, the challenger is just one of these four guys. So, wow. Yeah. So, Person, yes. So everything seems to be indicating that knight c5 probably the best stuff to happen. Let's see. We'll see. Go to Nepo and Fabi now, people. Hey, we said that, folks. We all said that, folks. And bishop e4. I'm happy, actually, that he concluded like we did. So this bishop is way too strong to refuse to decline these chances for the bishop. So this bishop is the happiest ever. If Fabi pulls this game nicely, he is going to get a full point, 9 points. Going to play in tie breaks tomorrow, Fabi. If Gukesh loses or draws. So everything actually revolves around Gukesh's game, so to speak. That's of paramount importance. So Fabi, if he wins it, he needs Gukesh to draw, you know, because otherwise Gukesh wins and he's the challenger. And he got chances. He got some chances, of course. So this is very good for white. This is really, really, really good for white. And castle's long. You have to calculate this bishop sacking. I'm not sure if it's very sound, because if they manage to escape, you're kind of dead. But let's just put it this way. Rook comes to e. And good luck to black, because I don't know what to suggest for black to play. I don't know what square the black queen has to go to. Probably where? f6? Maybe the knight wants to go to f6. So where do you move the queen? Where are you going to move the queen? Where are you going to move the black king? Are you going to castle? And so many question marks for Ian. That's one of them, MLS. That's just one of them, of course. If he castles what? Long or short? Which one are you considering? MLS. If black castle's long, well, the rook is here. You sure you want to do d5-ish? Probably you can. Yeah, you can because the pawn is pinned, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah, there's something, yes, person, yes, there's something we need to take into account. So, yes, if castle long, d5, I can understand that, although we have to investigate bishop c6, though. Like, properly, we have to investigate that. Hey, by the way, bishop, yeah, it's black's turn. So, again, castle's long, d5, c5, d6 hitting the queen, and the bishop is free to go. And I think it's awful for black. I think it's very, very bad looking for black, this situation here. So I don't think we need to worry about c5. c5 plays very well for white. I think it looks very good for white, I think, to my understanding. Because the bishop hits everywhere, and the king is here, and the queen is here. You know, I'm not even sure how you're going to defend this one successfully. So, castle long, d5 is a problem for black. I don't know what are you going to play for this. I don't know. What are you playing? I'm so curious what Ian is going to decide to play. I'm so curious. Is he going to take this guy here and just don't do nothing else with the king? Is he going to take the pawn? Is that helping him in any way? Well, he takes the pawn. No, white pushes d5 straight away. This guy doesn't even matter. Oh, it doesn't matter, that pawn. D6, then queen f6. Yeah, okay, let's look at this. Castle long, d5, c5, d6, queen f6. I don't want to trade nothing. What I'm going to do is queen b3 probably. And you've got a massive problem. That is, you've got a queen to b7 checkmate. Right? So you've got a checkmate on b7. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. If that's what you want to play. So queen f6. MLS, you said it yourself. That's why it makes it even more difficult for Ian. You can't do long, you can't do short, you can't do nothing. And the king now on the same line with the queen is also deadly. It's also deadly because the rook comes in the game. And it's just horrific. What you doing? I don't have good advice here for black. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed. As soon as so there you go. I did say it. So he took on f4 because is nothing you can actually play with black. I did say f4 because I couldn't find the damn thing to play. And now the question is, you with white, if you had the white pieces, would you take on f4, which I'm not sure if it's necessary, or would you blast open? Or would you play rook to d, which is... I would say this. I would take on f4 just to put black in the horrible Zugzwang. So I would just take on f4 and watching black how they can't move anything. Ian won't be able to do nothing at that stage. So rather than playing this, which I think probably is good, they're all good. d5 is good, rook de is good. I think if you inquire now with the engine, they're going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. And I think these are very, very close in terms of efficiency. d5 seems to be a sort of a killer. Rook de, it's another killer. You name it. If rook de, I mean, which one is more aggressive, rook de or d5? If you play rook de, what is black doing again? What do you play? I would play rook d-e. No, you have to play rook d-e here. Because you're going to ask the question to black. Are you castle or not? Or stuff like that. Or maybe rook h-e. That's another thing. You know why? Because if you play rook d-e now, they might castle long. So rook d-e, they might castle long, and d5, I think, loses its power or something. It's white's turn, by the way. So you have to investigate rook d-e, you have to investigate rook h-e, you have to think d5. Which one is it? Or just take on f4. I don't know. Or have you guys considered g4? Nah, that doesn't work. What the hell? That doesn't work because the guy's gonna move down. It's not. It's not working. G4. We can totally discard G4. That's not working. That is not working. So no, either this, or this. Probably not the rook H. You want to keep the H here for this guy. So rook DE, but you're moving the rook away from the D file. So D5 then. Well, no one said chess is easy. Of course, we know very well it's not easy. We know how tough it is. I would push d5 now with white person, and there's no queen f6 because queen b3 afterwards. So you could just push d5. I think you should push d5 now. You can't just wait, or even rook de seems like it lingers on. It just like postpones the. Yeah, you should push d5, open up the d. Make that bishop incredibly super happy. So go with d5, open up everything. d5 because this d-hub, I mean, this is just so strong. So strong. d5 is just. You winning with d5. Hello, Rakesh. d5 is very strong. Rook d, again, very strong. I think it's a matter of taste now. I don't know what to say. It's either rook de or d5. Black must castle long, and hopefully they're going to be surviving. And d5 castle long, and then you will take on c6. And I think game is over. Hello, Arseni. Good to see you, my friend. So d5, castle long, dc, and game is over. I don't know what can you possibly play. I'm not sure what is to be playing here. Of course, you can continue for a while. But I think it's kind of like done after d5. Black will have to castle long, either rook de or d5. Black needs to castle long. Which is not very optimistic, but what can you possibly play? Queen e5 again. I think queen b3. I think queen b3. I don't think you got a problem. Queen b3 hits the b7. Again, c6. Queen c. You can't do queen c5 because the pawn blocks you if you are on. Oh, so you want to play d5, queen c5. Then we're going to take the rook for free, Arseni. If d5 and queen c. Oh, it's pinned. Okay. Good point. d5, queen c5. Good point. Hell, I'm taking the pawn. Attacking your knight. Then you take my queen. I'm taking back. And if you take, I take. And then you're going to have to play this. Probably still winning for white. d5, queen c5. Nice find, Arseni. I love it. d5, queen c5. Queen is pinned. Hello, first last. We're going to go in a jiffy. We're going to go immediately after we try to clarify this one. If we can, that is. d5. No one can, actually. You can just make approximations. d5, queen c5. dc, queen takes, b takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Double pressure here of the rook and the bishop. Then rook being attacked, rook has to play here. Then you're going to play check. And bloody hell, you're going to win a piece, right? You tell me if I'm wrong, but you're going to win a piece because the king has to move away from protecting the black knight. So Arseni, if you follow this, confirm if you're happy with this scenario. d5, queen c5, pawn takes, queen takes, b takes. I'm attacking your knight. You either move the knight and I'm going to take on b7. If you take on c6, bishop's going to take, double attack here. Rook desperately to defend, and rook e, and the piece is down. That's it. Game over. This is just game over. Let's go to Hikaru and Gukesh then. Absolutely fabulous. Looks like Fabi winning. Looks like. Right, what was it here? Boy, oh boy. Knight c3? Knight c3. Oh, come on. I'm going to do something, guys. And I need to ask apologies for it. What? Sorry, what? Bishop. Knight c3. Knight d5. Bishop d2. I'm going to do something. I want to know. I really want to know if knight c5 is or isn't the better move here. Knight c3 gives me pain. I mean, I feel horrible. It might be necessary to play, but I just do not like it. I just can't do this. Let me try and check if knight c5 actually is the better move. I really want to know this. So I apologize. I need to ask this. I need to know for sure. Knight f6, knight c5, definitely bloody better than what Nakamura played. So now you have the supreme confirmation. Knight f6, which is a little bit horrible, but playable. Knight f6, bishop takes f6 and whatever. Knight c5 is way better than knight c3, which is absolutely gives me physical pain to do knight c3. And he did play knight c3. Unfortunately for white. So there you go. MLS and my friends, we discussed this, I think, at length. And we did say that actually knight c5 is the stuff to play. We did say knight c5, and I've advocated for this move a lot. It's actually the real deal, knight c5. Well, okay, knight f6 would have been also, but knight c5 is the stuff. And shockingly, Nakamura opts for knight c3. And it makes me sick, you know, knight c3. All right. Knight c3. Are you serious? Knight d5. Bishop d2. Now, that was worse than what we suggested, person. When we said knight c5, we were correct. That was actually the move. That was the move. He was supposed to be playing it. Knight takes. And now, obviously, forcing move. Bishop must take on c3. What is he doing? Bishop takes c3. Okay. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, Arseni. I don't think Gukesh is going to force it unnecessarily. Gukesh is going to go for a win if he sees it clearly. If it's too funky, he's going to go for a draw and fighting tomorrow Fabi. Yeah. Yes. He mustn't lose, that is, so to speak. So Gukesh mustn't lose from this point of view. So yeah. Right. So now black needs to decide. Okay. So he develops. He developed knight bd7. He's going to go here and then he's going to go here. Knight f6, then knight d5. And then I don't know what you're doing. Bishop d2, bishop b2. What are you doing? I don't know. Some of this stuff. Hello, Gasson. Long time no seen. Have you bought any precious artifact lately? Like chessboard countersigned by Bobby Fischer? We're rooting for whoever you want to. It's I'm just enjoying everyone's games. I'm not rooting for anyone in particular. I want to see spectacular chess, and I do see some wonderful ideas, especially Fabi Nepo. And I'm actually more satisfied when we do predict their moves. Or I'm even more satisfied when we find moves even better than the Super GM plays in that particular moment, which it just did happen. Together with our friends here, we found a move that was deemed by the engine way better than what Nakamura played. So, you see, they also do questionable choices. Okay, whites to play. I think you want to do something with the rooks. Unless there's something else. Well, I'm not sure. A rare coin from 1643. What's the price of that rare coin? What kind of coin is it? European coin? What coin it is? Oriental coin? What kind of coin that is? Is it gold or silver? So we have to do something with the rooks, we said, right? Rook AB. Could be. Rook AB. What else? Well, Rook AB. Can you ever dream of pushing this guy? Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Can I suggest pushing the pawn? I don't care what you're taking with back. Can I suggest d5 right now? The reason I'm considering is that you really want to having this bishop with the maximum power. So you may not be very sound though. I mean, d5, if bishop takes, you take, they're going to take back, but you've got a bishop attacking g7. Of course, they might be looking for neutralizing it somehow, maybe a knight or a bishop f6, but then you get a rook on the d. Might that be a game? I don't know. So you have a Norwegian coin from 1643. Okay, that's good. That is good. Rook FD is... So I did say, Gassad, my friend, I did say that actually we do want to get the rook to do something. So Rook AB, Rook FD, they both very good, I guess. Now, if you plan on pushing d5, probably you may want to go Rook FD1. So Rook FD1 in the preparation for d5. Now, if you do Rook FD1, Gassan, black's going to play Knight F6. You're going to push. They're going to take with the bishop. You're going to take with the bishop. They're going to take with the knight, attacking your bishop. Then you're going to drop it on b2. And then they're going to play bishop f6. What can I tell you? Bishop takes, knight takes back. And actually, you just lost the pawn. So maybe rook fd1 has to be played. There is a problem. This pawn has to disappear. The d4 pawn does not work for white. So you have to do something with that guy. Can you do... Nah, if you do this, actually you're having your bishop like a very, very big pawn here. There's nothing good about knight e5. Is it? I'm not sure. Gasson, yeah, I just said that knight e5 feels like they're going to take... Wait a minute. Yeah, no. You take with the pawn, so what exactly are you going to do with your bishop? What are you going to do with the bishop? It just doesn't feel okay. Yeah, okay, you got the D, but then, yeah, okay, that might be something. It just pains me to make my bishop attacking my pawn. I don't know. I understand your point. Makes some sense. There you got a D. Okay, the queen is happier on the E file. They can't go on the E file because they got a bishop. So there might be something. But they may do bishop c5 after white pawn goes on e5. They might play bishop c5. And then they're going to play queen e7. And then they're going to be attacking you twice on a3. So, after all, I don't know. Probably we should play rook. Rook fd1, rook ab1, you name it. Rook ab1 to stop any queen b6, amongst others, and attack b7, of course. So rook ab1 or rook fd, which one is more with the biggest priority? A3 is hanging, right? A3 is hanging, but you can play rook ab1 and attack the bishop with tempo, but then bishop takes on f3. You take on f3 and then take your pawn on a3, so that's a disaster. Rook b, bishop takes, queen takes, and bishop takes a3. I think you just lost. White had just lost because this guy is a passer, and you kind of lost the game. I think at this stage you have just lost the game. If Naka loses the a3, he lost the game. He lost the game. So you have to consider, what do you do with this guy? Do you play the bishop one more time a bit? Maybe play bishop b1? Guys, you know, at the beginning of the game, I had speculated bishop b and queen c or something like this for the, you know, the good old checkmate. If you play bishop b1, you're defending a3. Of course they're going to play knight f6, but the intention, it matters. Okay, that's another plan. Okay. Bishop, by the way, MLS and Gasson, bishop b1. Bishop b1 is attacking something. Bishop a2 doesn't do nothing apart from maybe supporting d5 at some point. So bishop b1 does attack h7. It is something to that move. You have to spend another tempo then. I don't know. Play queen battery, queen d3, bishop c2, rook b. I mean, it's going to take a billion years, but it's very difficult. And even for Nakamura, it is difficult because he's still thinking. He's on 46 minutes and he didn't decide what to do. Bishop b1. There you go. Yes. Whew. Exhausting. Bishop b1. So I was in the same spirit with Nakamura. I don't know if that's gonna save him though. I don't know if that's enough to save Nakamura. 235, 415. It's still playable. That's not finished. But I'm happy I've indicated bishop b1 right before he played it, because bishop b1 actually attacks something very concrete. It's an attacking concrete move. It does do something. You know, once every 20 moves, I do get it right. And defends a3. By the way, the reason I pleaded for bishop b1 is double-fold, because I want to defend a3 with the rook, and then it dawned upon me that actually the bishop will attack something from black. So that's why I've really said bishop b1, and then Nakamura played it immediately. So now you're safe with this guy, and the bishop attacks h7. Okay, so the game is far from over. We'll continue. Knight to c. What? Yeah, of course, knight f6. Yes, and knight f6 is going to happen. I agree. But then we go back to the ideas we discussed previously with rook fd. You know, this kind of stuff. Rook fd. Maybe queen d3. so that the black knight will never move, so to speak. Let's play very simple. Let's play rook fd. After knight f6, white can do rook fd, queen d, bishop c. Some rook here. Let's just play simple. Well, no. Whoa. Not here, because I'm going to drop this pawn. No way. Rook fd definitely after knight f6. Yes. Person, I would say that's another subtle idea which could be incredibly important. So knight f6, queen d3 for fixing the knight. If black decides to play g6, that will terribly weaken the dark square. So that might be something that maybe Gukesh would be hesitating to play. So knight f6, queen d3, and we continue playing chess, of course. It's, yeah, there is something. I do want to make the battery. I absolutely do want to play the battery. So knight f6, queen d3 fixes the knight or forces black to consider g6. He's got, he got 15 minutes. Doesn't look to me like Gukesh is very keen on the dinner now, Gassan. Rather, you would like to inquire this with Yanni Pomniche. I don't think on Gukesh's list this evening is dinner. What we got for dinner? You may want to inquire with Nepomniachtchi what's for dinner. I don't think you got the right person for the dinner. Okay, that hits the bishop. The rook on a8 didn't do nothing. Rook to c now, it does something. Now you could still play queen to d3 because that's good for 2 points of 2 reasons. It threatens the checkmate and it defends c3. So you may want to play queen d3 regardless, and you may want to do it now. I guess. Right? So queen d3 seems to be important to be played now. And if there is any bishop f3, you're going to take back with the queen, and the game continues, progresses and stuff and all. What? Queen d3, bishop e4, I'm going to take. You can't take my bishop because you're going to get checkmated. Person. If black decides to do it in this fashion, which I really doubt. I don't think Gukesh is going to do it. So then again, queen d3, you say bishop e4, I say queen takes e4, the bishop can't be taken. So no, it doesn't work. Well, we got to take it step by step. So queen d3, defending and checkmate. Knight f6, says Arseni. Knight f6, I understand. And then d5. Yeah, this is just brilliant, Arseni. It's superb d5 then, because my bishop attacks the knight, which defends against the checkmate on h7. This is spectacular. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yes. So Arseni got a very good plan here. Actually, you all got the good plan, guys. So queen d3, and person said also about the queen d3, fixing the knight on f6 forever. Like, for a while, that is. So queen d3, checkmate h7. If knight f6, then Arseni suggested d5 straight away, which I think it's great. I think it's great. Now, there is some stuff here. Bishop is going to take. Not the pawn, not the knight. Wait a minute. What if queen takes, though? Then it's going to neutralize your queen. What? Knight f6 played instead of rook c8? Oh, that's another story. That's another story. Maybe knight f6 would have been better. I would have played knight f6, by the way, MLS. Well, after queen d3, Gassan, black has a very stark, limited choice. You either do g6, assuming you're going to weaken all the dark squares, or you're going to play knight f6. I don't think you can... I mean, f5 is horrible, right? Because of the massive e6 backward weak pawn, attackable by anybody. So again, queen d3, defending c3, threatening checkmate on h7. f5 can be discarded by everybody because e6, it's a disaster. So, yeah, queen d3, knight f6. But if d5 though, guys, if d5, what about queen takes d5? If you take the bishop, I'm going to take your queen, Arseni. So, yeah, exactly. I am not convinced about the d5. I am not. I'm not. Now, this one moved away from the rook. Moved away from the rook. Okay. Okay. What does it do? I don't know. I don't know what it does. Well, it saves the bishop. Let's put it this way. Bishop d2 saves the bishop from the rook. It's weird. I mean, I thought that maybe he want to play the battery, right? It's. I mean, what does he want to play? Does he want to play queen d3 to attack a6? But then the other guy gonna push a5, I guess. Oh, can I attack it then with queen e1? One pawn matters absolutely. Knight f6 had been played, by the way. We did say knight f6. We did say knight f6. And I guess knight f6 has to be played regardless. Bishop d3. Yes, I was correct about this one. Yep. No, I was correct about this one. Yep. That's exactly what I said. Bishop d3 together with the queen going for a6, a5, and then maybe queen e1. After all, a pawn matters absolutely. And there is another plan. If a5, maybe I just want to play bishop a6 and take your bishop off the game because you can't retreat. I'm going to take your rook. And if you take my knight, I'm very happy to take back with the queen. So then again, it's not just queen and bishop attack a pawn. It's not just that. Actually, Nakamura wants to play bishop a6 regardless. So I'm assuming black's going to play a5, right? I'm assuming. I don't think you want to play queen d4 now because you're going to get in problemo. That's just, you don't want to do this, right? So a5, bishop a6, bishop takes a6, queen takes a6, and a5 is being double attacked. Sorry, d4 can't be touched because there is a knight. I apologize. So a5, bishop a6, bishop a6, queen a6, and a5 is being double hit. Well, it's something. It's something. If that guys, if any of the a pawn, either white or black, falls, the other guy is going to have a passed pawn. So it is very important not to lose the pawn. Rook a8 person is great for white because rook a8 was on a8. So if you're moving the rook back, Nakamura would say, thank you very much. I'm very happy with your decision. Yeah, absolutely. Rook a8, fine. Now we're going to play rook a b1 or something. No, he took. Now Nakamura, with this very interesting maneuver, made sure there is no light square dark bishop. Good, that's good for white. d4 liability was totally taken. If you grab here now, guys, this is brewing. I think Gukesh has to slow down a bit if you want to win. This is brewing of something. He has to slow down, Gukesh, a bit. Gukesh is on 57 minutes. Nakamura is on 41. I have a strange feeling that Gukesh is moving fast unnecessarily. It just doesn't look good to having the black queen on the d file now. And I don't know what to start to calculate for black after bishop e3. Yeah, okay, there is bishop e3, there is queen here, right? But I think he needs to sit down a bit. He needs to settle down. Just wait a minute. This guy is hanging, by the way. So if he does queen to g, I'm going to take, knight's going to take, I'm going to take this guy. I think I'm winning. So he needs to sit down carefully now, and he needs to look for ways to protecting a6. I don't know what that means. I don't know if he means queen a7. I don't know if he means queen a4. Queen a7 could be met with bishop e3. I don't know what it is. But I think he should settle down. He should give it some 10 minutes. Gukesh should give 10 minutes here and properly think about this. It could be queen a4. I don't know what the move is. I really don't know what the move is. At this stage, I need to spend some time. It could be queen a4. It could be queen d6. Again, if you lose on a6, I think you just lose the game. Because Nakamura is having two bloody bishops. And if this dark square bishop goes on e3, okay, he played a4. I did say it. I'm happy he played it, but I think he still should have been thought about this one for a bit longer. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that one, man. How'd you get those money, hey? Okay, thanks for the idea. Now I'm not leaving my stream. So send me a message or something. If there's anything, I'm gonna follow up. But at the time being, I'm doing this. So queen a4 had been played. I did say queen a4, but I guess you got to spend a bit more time here to think about this one, because it's very important not to rush it now. No, you can't touch the a3. You can't touch the a3. This is a poisonous pawn. You can't put yourself in a pin. You totally can't do this, right? Yes, Gasson, queen b7 springs to mind, and I think Gukesh moved a bit faster at some point unnecessarily. Queen b7 hits a6, more importantly, hits the bishop. I would prefer big mind. Wallahi, etc. So bishop b7 attacks the queen b7 attacks bishop e7 and attacks a6. I think somewhere down the road, Gukesh just rushed some move. He moved too fast, something. It's just a matter of 2-3 moves ago. I'm not sure about, okay, what is strange stuff he did? Rook c8, bishop d2, knight f6, bishop d3. Bishop f3, I think, was a bit rushed. Move 19, bishop captures f3. Maybe he should have explored a bit more. Maybe he should have played the move rook a8, as painful as it looks. It might have been the move he had to consider. Rook back on a8. Hello, Interstellar. Good to see you, my friend. I think it does, Gasson. I think it does. I think after queen b7, you either save your bishop or you're getting in trouble, right? So you have to defend the bishop somehow, whatever that defense means. Moving bishop d6, playing rook to e8, whatever you do. Knight to d5, whatever you play. So after queen b7, you need to invest in protecting your... There you go. Queen b7. We did call it. Everybody called it. So now black has to find ways to protect bishop on e7. This guy here, very important. And then white's going to collect a6. And that means, at this stage, Nakamura has a passed pawn. And that means trouble for Gukesh, because he's going to have to keep his resources to stopping that pawn. And not just, it's not over, because Nakamura is having the bishop pair in the most ideal ever scenario with the bishop on e3. I don't know, if you play h3, the knight can't frustrate your bishop. So you have the bishop on e3 looking this, and the bishop looking this and looking this. I don't know what it is. I think it's a minus 0 point something. I think it's a minus 0. Sorry, apologies. It's a plus 0 point. 1, if not more. Sorry, +1. It's a +1, +1. 0.91, maybe more than 1. +1 something. Let's find out. I don't know. I'm going to find out just as we speak because I do not check. I do not use the engine, but sparingly. Very rarely I'm using the engine in the live broadcast. Guys, I think we are deluding. We must missing something. We must miss on something. It's a bloody minus 0.7. How is that possible? Sorry, you have to save the bishop, right? What the heck is going on? Yeah, the power of the bishop pair. That's exactly right in Interstellar, given the fact we discussed about this. Yes, you're going to see it in action, actually. I don't know what's the computer thinking. Probably the computer says knight d5. Probably either this or knight d5. Knight d5 for rook e8, some of these. How the hell is black better after... I'm going to tell you something. I think from a psychological point of view, humans would be terrified to having this with black. Well, whatever terrified means. You gotta be a cold-blooded machine to not being concerned here with black. Queen a6, queen a6, bishop a6, rook a8, black wins the white's pawn back. What? Wait, MLS has an idea. So this. Yes. He wins it back because it's this and because it's this. Yeah, that's it. But still the bishop pair for white. I think I know why the computer says black is better. The pawn will be taken back, and the knight ends up on d5. Again, a crushing outpost. And you cannot play bishop e3. You can't play bishop e3. Yes. Thank you, MLS, for clarifying. You are correct. On many occasions, you were very correct and insightful. The pawn will be taken back on a3, and after knight d5, which protects the bishop, the e3 and c3 are being denied. You can't move your bishop to, control more stuff and everything. And you can't move here because there is a bishop. You can't move here because there is a knight that you're going to take. You're going to have isolated pawn. So, yeah. Knight d5 is going to be on a very ideal outpost as a knight. Yep. Still far from finished. I guess knight d5 has to be played. Let's ask Stokefish if knight d5 is the one, because I think knight d5 is the best move ever for black in this position here. Do you think there's any other resource? I don't think so. I think it's knight d5. I think it's knight d5, right? It's got to be knight d5. Okay. No, it's not. It's bishop c5. Okay, knight d5. Knight d5 is not the strongest. It's the second line. The first line is bishop c5. Bishop c5 because of this? Well, bishop c5 is a good stuff anyway. Okay. Knight d5 is the second line of the engine. Queen a6, rook a8, queen a4. Exactly the whole line that we discussed with MLS. The whole line that we discussed with him is right here. It's written here now. Okay. Wow. And yes, it's bishop c5 because of this. That is why the suggestion was to do h3. To stop knight g4, which would be very, very problematic for white. Yes, bishop c5 and then immediately h3 because you're going to have a problem with knight g4, double attack on f2. Yes. Oof, tough one. So bishop c5 is the strongest stuff that continues and wins, sort of, on a path to potential victory for black. Very difficult. Guys, we have ignored completely Fabi and Nepo. Hey. These guys took their time here. G4. I did mention G4, but it looks horrible because I mean, this pawn can move down, right? So why did Fabi... wait a second. Right. So, I did mention G4, but I hated it because of the H4 moving down the board. Anyway, he didn't move it down the board. He played castle long, and D5, which we had discussed already. So, I guess Fabi is winning this one. All in all, it's +1 something, if not more than +1, right? I mean, C6 is gone. C6 is so gone. It's just too much on C6, and that's where the queen is as well. And the bishop looks on B7, so everything is very positive for white here now, I'd say, right? So Fabi wins this. I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't know what black plays. Maybe you do this out of desperation. Reason being, if they take, you take. It's so bad. Queen takes, and even if you play this, there is check here. This guy moves here. My God, you can't do this. No, you can't. It's the rook. It's checkmate. There's nothing. It's a +2 or something. Yeah, knight b8. Exactly. Yeah, that's the only way to play it. To reinforce c6. Yes, you're correct. Knight b8 looks after c6. Defend it. It defends it. Knight b8. Because you got nothing else. Nothing else works. Still, after knight b8, the pawn is probably going to take, right? Then rook takes the rook d, rook takes d. It might be some counter game with this guy coming down. Maybe it's knight, maybe it's not completely over. Maybe it's not completely over. I think you have to continue. Knight b8 indeed has to be played now. There is something with this guy. G4 move may be a bit questionable because if black pushes the pawn, let's assume rook is going to take on d. If you take back with the other rook, this guy is very dangerously coming down. You got to be careful. If you take with the king, you're going to be kind of exposing the king yourself as well. So maybe there is not, maybe not everything's over here. Or maybe he wants to take now. So knight b8 by black, and then I guess Fabi has to... Hey, there is this as well. MLS, have we considered after knight b8, bishop f5? So knight b8, bishop f5. No. This is just too much for black. So there is another stuff, MLS. It's bishop f5. No, you're not going to get there. We're not going to get there because bishop f5. So you play knight b8 to reinforce c and to open the d, right? Cool. Bishop f5. What do you play? Because if you move the king, we're going to have a check here. And if you push b, I'm going to take here. Come on, it's over. Knight b8 and bishop f5. You can't save it, right? I'm not going to take on c. Knight b8, bishop f5. How do you defend against this? If you do knight b8. If you don't do knight b8, I'm going to take on c6 indeed. And I think MLS, it's a bit kind of like done. Arseny, queen c5, he says. I'm still taking on c. Queen takes c3, b takes. This guy takes. I am taking probably queen c5. At least to making sure the queens are disappearing, are gone. Can we play then bishop f though? Queen takes, pawn takes. If this guy takes, I'm gonna take with this. Okay, that's the thing. Queen c5. There is no knight move. There is a queen move. No, Arseni is correct. Yes, you are correct. This is the only resource that allows white to dream and to continue a bit more. It's queen c5. You must play queen c5, trade off the queen no matter what, and hoping for. Yes, again, I think you guys are correct. As Arseni had indicated previously, and now you and myself, I agree with him. Queen c5 is the only way to stay in the game. For black, that is. Queen c5, and maybe white's gonna win on c6 a pawn or something. Queen c5, dc, queen takes check, b takes. Yeah, you're gonna win a pawn. Probably still better position for white. B and bishop takes. Man, then maybe rook takes. You can't take with the rook here. You can't take with this guy. And then he's gonna push this guy down the board here. It's just okay. And then maybe this. Oops, then maybe this. Okay, queen c5. All in all, if not queen c5, I don't see anything you could do here. I'm not sure about pushing the c. You know why? Because I'm going to play d6. I'm going to attack your queen. I'm going to unleash the bishop on b7. Or even worse. Yeah. No. If you do c, we're going to push, I guess. It might be something. I think the bishop would be incredibly happy if gets to hit b7. I'm not sure about c5. I'm still on the idea that queen c5 would be the move that keeps black in the game. So queen c5, and the queens are gone, and you just play whatever you can play. Okay. So guys, I'm gonna be back in a sec. Just type in the best ideas you could possibly see. I'm gonna move it over to Gukesh, and we'll be back in a second. Let me just put that game here to have it on display for everybody. And he did it. Oh, bishop c5 by Gukesh. He always finds them. He always finds the moves. Bishop c5. Bishop e1 because he was concerned of this and this. So he didn't play h3, which was the best move. He played bishop e1. Okay. All right. a6 in the balance probably is going to be taken. Very cool stuff. So guys, we'll be back in a second now. All right. Going to leave this one on the board. Alright, so where were we? Okay. So let's see. Well, good luck with your book, man. 750 pages. That's a very commendable thing to happen for a young man. How old you said you were? 18, 20 or something? That's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So being decided writing a book on the coins. Oh, at 15. Oh my god, that's just fabulous. Make a video about it. Post it on YouTube and stuff. That's fabulous thing. You guys are amazing. Congrats, Gasson. Parents should be super proud of you, man. A5, saving the A6 pawn. Okay. Now, I guess queen. Yeah, he just played it immediately. Queen to B5. Trading things here. Well, they don't necessarily have to trade, but if you don't trade, where do you go? And then again, if you move, I don't know where, here or something, this guy will be taken. Is there any checkmate? I don't see it. I guess queen takes and bishop take. Okay, if queen takes, I think Nakamura wants to say, if queen takes, bishop takes, and then potentially maybe something like this. So you got a bishop here, a4, b5, and black is going to get the bishop on b4. Right? Or maybe not. Maybe not now. Because if you get bishop b4, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook b. We'll see about that. Pawns, 3 plus 1, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. Well, that's a problem. Long term. Not now, but it might be a problem. Okay. So I guess black would take and bishop takes back, and then we'll follow a4. If you have a chance, probably you are going to play this. Is there anything else stronger here? Is this one working? Kind of. So they take. Rook plays. No, you're dropping c5. This is nonsense. No. You have to take. You have to take. You have to take. That can't be because of this guy. No. Queen takes, bishop takes, and keep playing. Maybe drawing, but definitely not losing for Gukesh. So Gukesh doesn't lose this. He draws. He draws or he wins. It doesn't look he loses. Nope, not at all. Very optimistic for the young man here. So queen takes, bishop takes, and he's absolutely fine. He's absolutely fine. Even better than Nakamura. Not just fine, he's just better than Nakamura here. Totally. He will be in a tiebreak if he draws. He's gonna be on 9 points. So let's admit this. So if he draws, he's 9 points. Now the other guys are on 8 points. Sorry, yeah, on 8 points. Fabi and Nepo. If one of them wins, it's gonna be tie breaks. If it's gonna be a draw, then I think he's the challenger then. If I calculate this exactly. Oh, yeah. So if he draws, he's okay. If he draws, he's absolutely okay. If he wins, he wins. If he wins, he is the challenger. Queen b5, bishop b5, a4. Yes, yeah. That's exactly right. To prevent that pawn and bishop structure. No, it hasn't been reached, Interstellar. Thanks for verifying, but it hasn't been reached. That is true. No, it hasn't been. Nope. Totally hasn't been. So, yes, if queen takes and bishop takes, it is possible that black pushes this guy. But no, are you sure? Queen takes, bishop takes. If you push, probably I could just take your guy, right? Yeah, you're going to play this. I'm going to move I don't know where, and then you're going to take the other pawn. Either way, MLS, either way, the pawn takes gets back. You're going to take back the pawn. Or you're going to let white having a4, bishop b5, so you can have a5, bishop b4. So you got to decide which one works better for you. I guess queen has to take. And because he's on 41 minutes, he can afford to stay 7-8 more minutes or something. So queen takes, bishop takes, and then which way works best for you? Do you want to push the pawn? Do you want to allow white to play a4? Because this guy is sort of hanging. So queen takes, bishop takes, a4. Bishop takes, rook a8, bishop where? Bishop where? Bishop b3, and rook takes a3, rook takes a3, bishop takes a3, and the game is where it is. It could be a draw. Probably it could be a draw. It might be a draw. It's a bit of advantageous for black, I think, right? Minus 0 what? Minus 0.50? Minus 0.70? Which one is it? Minus 0.63. So it is advantageous for black. After all, there is one extra pawn. So, but the game is not over. Okay. Let's go for this one quickly now. Hey, what is this super strange thing? I didn't even... Wait a minute. I was talking about h4 ages ago, and I said that that's the reason that Fabi shouldn't have played g4. He shouldn't have played g4 at all because of this particular idea. And that's a passer. What the hell is he doing? He shouldn't have played that stuff. Okay, he takes. A nice e5. You have to take on b7 now. You have to take on b7, right? Or do you play bishop f5? Or do you take this with tempo? If you take here, king's gonna go b8. Still not easy. Still not easy. This is not easy. Probably white is better here. I feel white is having more initiative, plays more aggressively, more problems for black than for white. But it's still not easy. There are resources, and Yan is just playing everything he can. Everything he can. And a very nice find. And there is one little stuff you have to be careful about, is this guy. So that would be the perennial question. Why did he play g4? Why didn't he take on f4 if he wanted to? And why he pushed g4? And that was... What was it? G takes f4. Here. Why did he play g4? Okay. If you do want to do stuff, why not just take this guy? g4. d5. We were correct about d5 right at this very stage. g4. Bloody hell. g4, h4, king b1. This is very, very, very deep stuff. Huge advantage regardless. g4. That feels so weird. Okay. +2, 1. +2. Because probably you take here on b7 with tempo. Check. Yes. Yeah, rook can take on d8. But then rook takes on d8. Queen still defends this guy, right? Wait a minute. Can you play check first? You probably have to, right? C takes b7 check. King has to move. Where does it go? You don't take. You don't take with the. You take with the knight, or you move the king. You take with the knight, which is horrible. No, you can't. Bloody hell! It's pinned, for Christ's sake. Oh, you have to move the king. Knight is pinned. Knight can't move, is pinned. Pawn takes. King moves, and then what? Yes, black is in more difficult position than white here. That is true. That is true. More problematic here for black than for white. More difficult. Way more difficult for black. So we could try a prediction and say that Fabi should be winning this. Therefore, Fabi will be on 9 points. And if we are to try a bit more, we could say that Gukesh is at least going to draw. Probably he's going to draw. Therefore, guys, tomorrow we're going to have tie breaks. And Fabi is going to be versing tomorrow Gukesh for deciding who's the challenger of Dingley Ren. If I am to try it now to make a prediction. So he should be able, Fabi, to find a way to win here. So 9 points assured. And in the other game, Gukesh has a bit of advantage, but not that crushingly advantageous. So he is going to draw. So the only people in the race tomorrow for the tie breaks would be Fabi with 9 points and Gukesh with 9 points. So that's a plausible scenario right now. We could say this at this very moment. Of course, unless anything else just happens. Yep, totally, guys. So, guys, we do have to pause it for the time being. Unfortunately, I have to attend some other stuff at the minute now. And I would like to extend my thank you to all of you, my friends, on YouTube, on Facebook, and kick.com, or whatever platform you came to seeing the stream. And if it's tie breaks tomorrow, definitely we're going to be going online again around 7:45 or 8 p.m. UK time. And if it's not, and if there is a challenger this evening, I will just do the puzzles and games analysis as per usual, guys. So thank you again. Thanks all, my friends, and see you tomorrow evening then. And enjoy the remainder. Thank you, my friend. Cheers.